good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're at. What was I going to talk about? I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, yes. They're like these clickbait articles that say, these are the top 25 highest earning jobs in the US, what they pay, according to Glassdoor. And Glassdoor is like a big job search website, and you can kind of compare salaries. A lot of times they're not entirely accurate, but I find that these websites are always totally wrong when it comes to the things that are happening in reality at top tech companies. Because really what these articles should be saying is that the top tech company salaries blow the salaries that they're talking about out of the water. So let me give you an example. Number one, physician, median base salary, $193,000. Pharmacy manager, $143,000. Dentist, $142,000. I'll put this link in the description below, but you get the idea. The salaries drop as I go down. Interestingly, software engineering manager, median base salary, $114,000 a year. Okay, so that might be true in middle America, right? That might be true in a lot of smaller organizations, but in top tech, Facebook, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Netflix, Apple, companies like that, right? Some people refer to them as FANG companies. The salaries are so much higher. And so I don't know why these articles don't ever really share this information. It seems as if when you get into the San Francisco market, when you get into the Seattle market, the salaries are inflated 2 to 5 times higher than what a lot of these websites are talking about. One awesome resource is this website called levels.fyi, and I'll put a description below. Now, levels.fyi allows you to compare salaries from a couple different job families. So you have like software engineer, software engineering manager, product designer. They get like investment banker and a couple other things in there, but it was originally started for software and product management. But this gives you an idea of how crazy the salary ranges are at top tech companies. And I'm talking like only the top handful of tech companies, right? Like you would never be able to expect these type of salaries in most places in the country. And one would argue, oh, well, John, the cost of living in Seattle or San Francisco is so much higher. And it's true, but the salaries are 3 to 5 times higher, and so they completely offset the high cost of living in some of these areas. Here's an example of this, right? So the Boston Globe article that was published said a software engineering manager gets paid $114,000 on average. Well, if I go to software engineering manager on levels.fyi and I compare from like Google to Facebook to Microsoft, at Facebook, software engineering manager is $503,000 total comp, okay? Salary of $212,000, stock of $247,000 per year, vested over 4 years, right? You're getting $1 million in stock when you join that you can take out $275,000 worth each year, and that's not to mention that tech stock is just booming out of control. So you're $247,000 in stock per year winds up actually looking like 300, 320. It's absolutely insane. 114,000 to 500,000. Compare that to something like, Google, 472,000, right? So why don't these articles talk about this type of stuff? Because it's absolutely insane. And some people know about it, but clearly, when articles are like this, people are just kind of gravitating towards being like physician's assistants at $75,000, $100,000, and that might be their thing, right? But if somebody were to lay out the salary ranges of these top tech companies to me when I was younger and I had no idea, I would have gravitated towards this industry like right away. Like I would not have even been an entrepreneur in my early 20s. I would have just tried to get into top tech. Once you get into a big tech company, what's crazy is that the recruiters are trying to poach each other. Like I was having a conversation with a recruiter from a big tech company, and I can't mention her name or the company because what she told me she'd probably get in trouble. But what I'll say is that there's a shortage at some of the biggest tech companies for talent. And you would never imagine that there'd be a shortage for talent at tech, right? You'd think that, millions, you hear all these stories about like millions of people are applying, whatever, but there's a shortage of the right people that they're trying to attract. And it's hard for them to validate talent in general. And so, resumes don't really do a great job. A lot of people don't have online presences on LinkedIn, right? So they're just looking at a bunch of numbers on paper. And so it's really hard to kind of get the right people in the door for interviews. And so these recruiters have these insane quotas that they have to, meet. They can't meet them. And so what they're doing is they're poaching people from places like, if you work at Amazon, their Facebook is, poaching from Amazon. Google is poaching from Facebook, right? Like it's very incestuous, the pool, right? Because if I'm in Google as a recruiter, the first thing I'm going to do before I look at any other candidates is I'm going to look for people who are already validated at Amazon, or Microsoft or Google or what have you, right? Like I'm going to be trying to make those conversations because it's a lot easier to say, okay, this person has gone through the rigorous process of interviewing, and they'll likely make it through the process at our company as well. And the crazy thing is they're willing to throw any amount of money at you to meet their quota. So, you might be getting paid, let's say you enter somewhere like Amazon, you're getting paid like $300,000 a year. And then Google calls you up a year later and they're like, well, what's it going to take? Right? The conversation is so much different. It's like, what is it going to take for me to steal you away and make it lucrative enough so that it's worth it to steal you away? And so that's what's going on behind the scenes. And once you get in, you're getting this like endless loop of recruiter calls, and man, it's insane. So, really thankful to be in tech from where I was a few years ago, because I was making $12 an hour at Best Buy. So I often reflect on how on earth I got here, and that's why I shoot a lot of these videos, because I want other people, like I want to pull as many people into this game as possible, because it is life-changing. It's been life-changing for me. And so leave some comments below if you have any questions for me. Happy to answer them. And I'm also on LinkedIn, really doing a lot of frequent posts, like article type posts there. So that's it. That's all I got for you. I'm going to hang out in Costa Rica a little bit, drink a little Costa Rican coffee, so we'll talk to you soon.